How much gold is there in Atlantis? The fact that Plato's account of Atlantis is accurate not only in the big picture sense, but to the finest level of detail down to the widths of each of the rings of its capital city has far-reaching implications. The first is that we can reasonably infer that the other measurements and dimensions mentioned by Plato are also accurate. In the central zone of the royal city of Atlantis was said to be the Temple of Poseidon, which housed a statue of the god seated in a chariot driven by 6 winged horses. Plato said that this statue was made of gold, with the head of the statue nearly touching the temple's roof. This temple was described as being a quarter of a Greek stadium in height, or approximately 150 feet, 46 meters, or 4,600 centimeters in height. If the statue of Poseidon was made of solid 24-karat gold, and was shaped with the average man's proportions, who stands 171 centimeters tall and weighs 78 kilograms, or 78,000 grams, and has a density very close to that of water at 1 gram per cubic centimeter, then we may calculate its expected value in US dollars as follows. First, we know that the average man's volume is equal to 78,000 cubic centimeters, arriving at this result by dividing 78,000 grams by 1 gram per cubic centimeter. Then, since volume scales to the cube of height of proportionally shaped objects, the volume of the golden statue of Poseidon should be 1,500 cubic meters. Multiplying this by the density of gold, which is 19,300 kilograms per cubic meter, the weight of this statue would be approximately 30 million kilograms. Once again multiplying by the current price of gold per kilogram of $57,000 per kilogram, we arrive at its approximate value of 1.7 trillion US dollars for the statue of the god alone. If the gold in the chariot and the 6 winged horses is added, the amount of gold would probably be at least doubled, to reach a value of 3.4 trillion US dollars. This would amount to an amount of gold comprising nearly half of all of the gold that has ever been mined in recorded history, at $7.5 trillion. But let us assume the more conservative estimate of $1.7 trillion, which would still be almost a quarter of all of the gold ever mined in history. For comparison, the total amount of gold discovered in the California gold rush between 1848 and 1860 is estimated at 750,000 pounds or around 340,000 kilograms. That is, there is almost 100 times more gold in the statue of Poseidon than all of the gold discovered in the California gold rush, which was enough to draw hundreds of thousands of migrants from all across the world to seek their fortune. These numbers seem incredible, but the calculations are fairly straightforward, and the fact that Plato's account has proven to be correct in the dimensions of each of the rings of the capital against all odds, should imply that he is more or less correct with regard to the other measurements too. Atlantis was said to have been destroyed in a single day and night by a cataclysmic flood, and so it is reasonable to conclude that all of the treasures of this lost city, including the Temple of Poseidon and the statue of the god housed within, must remain largely as they were on their last day, toppled and crumbled, perhaps, but untarnished, for 11,600 years is to gold but a second.